So there are some pitfalls when it comes to real estate that a lot of people have fallen into. And I want to come on here today and do what I can to stop people from falling into these pitfalls. Things that I'm seeing over and over and over as someone who has practiced in the areas of real estate, heirs property work, and probate for a few generations. Now, generations? I ain't been around for a few generations. What am I talking about? I am coming on here because I need to give y'all some inside scoop. I want to make sure that if you are a landowner, if you are a real estate owner, that you know these things so that you can make sure that you make the most out of the property that you own and that you don't end up messing things up when it comes to your ownership of the property and your ability to pass that property to those you love, your ability to actually maximize the financial benefits that you can get from owning your real estate. So I'm asking you, please stay tuned because what we are talking about is an issue that I see come up so often. And I'm really trying to spread the word to get as many people as possible to know some things that they can do to make sure they don't land in this place that a lot of people have landed. So there are some pitfalls when it comes to real estate that a lot of people have fallen into. And I want to come on here today and do what I can to stop people from falling into these pitfalls. Things that I'm seeing over and over and over as someone who has practiced in the areas of real estate, heirs property work, and probate for a few generations. Now, generations? I ain't been around for a few generations. What am I talking about? Okay. This one, you know, you do this work too much, you just start saying random stuff. I have been working with families concerning heirs property, probate, estate planning, and real estate now for about 8 years, 8 to 10 years. My math is getting a little fuzzy, but it's been a few years. And I've seen like some crazy things come up, and I'm just like wanting to not have you all go through this because when I work with families, I'm wanting them to be able to make the most out of the land and the real estate that they own. So I want to make sure that you have these things in mind so that you can be best equipped to make the most out of what you own. One thing, and this is probably just the umbrella thing for it all. If you're doing anything related to real property, real estate, house, land, commercial property, you need to have a lawyer involved with the process. Please do not change the ownership of property without having a lawyer involved. When I say property, again, we're talking about real estate, real property. Do not change the ownership of the property without having a lawyer involved. So that means if someone has died and they own property and you want to make sure that the heirs of that person or the beneficiaries to their will or trust get the property transferred over to them, please involve a lawyer. You want to make sure that you draft the right documents and that when you draft those documents, it has all the information in it that it needs to have and that it connects back to what's already in the land records so that you have a good chain of title for your property. I have seen it done too often where someone has died and then their heirs just start signing stuff. They're like, oh, we did a quick deed for that. First thing I want to say, there is no such thing as a quick deed, at least in the state of Georgia. A lot of people think of a quit claim deed, which is not anything quick and is not something that's easy to do just because it sounds easy to do. There are still requirements that have to be met in order for a quit claim deed to be valid in the state of Georgia and probably any other state that you are operating in. So it's important that anytime a deed is being drafted, whether it's a quit claim deed, a warranty deed, an administrator's deed, an executor's deed, a security deed, whatever kind of deed we are doing, please have a real estate lawyer do that for you. And when I say real estate lawyer, I'm saying it like that for a reason because just because someone went to law school and has a law degree does not mean that they should be drafting deeds for you. And I don't mean any offense. What I'm saying is, don't ask me to do a criminal law case because I don't know criminal law. I don't do anything with criminal law. The only thing that I know about criminal law is what I learned my first year of law school. And you don't want someone who has taken one semester of criminal law handling your criminal law case. Now, I will say, I mean, I could probably figure it out if I had to, if I just had to, but please put me at the end of the list. Same thing for someone who does not do real estate. Don't have them drafting deeds. They will probably mess it up. And I, like I said, no offense. I'm just talking from experience. I've seen some deeds that people who are not real estate lawyers have drafted, and there have been problems sometimes. So get you a real estate lawyer. Not only that, I want us, and I've been hesitant to say this, but I think it just has to be said. I want us to stop drafting deeds to the extent possible without doing a title search first. I know sometimes people don't want to spend the money to do a title search, and I get that. But the problems I've seen of people drafting these without a title search first, I'm just done with that. That's in the past. Let's stop doing that. I've seen it where someone drafted a deed from one person to another, and it turns out that that person doesn't even own the property that they said that they owned. So they basically have drafted a deed from the heir to this person, and they think they own something they don't, because the person who signed the deed over to them didn't own what they thought they owned. So you want to make sure you have a title search first to make sure that chain of title is clear, and that the person who is signing the deed over the property over to another person, that they actually owned what they said they owned, and that they have the authority to transfer that ownership to the other person. Also, when it comes to estates, a lot of times people think, oh, estates are easy. You don't even have to be a lawyer to handle an estate. Oh, I'm a lawyer and I'm your cousin. I might be a personal injury lawyer, or I might be an IP lawyer, but I'll do your estate for you. I'm your cousin. Please, let's not do that, because I'm not even trying to pick at nobody, but I've seen it happen where a family member was a lawyer, and they were not a probate lawyer, but they handled this estate for their loved one. They got it open for them, and got them set up as the administrator for an ancestor that died a few generations ago. They did all this, and it turns out that that ancestor who died, as soon as they died, very shortly after they died, their heirs went ahead and divided the estate. Well, I won't say divided it, but they settled the estate between each other. They drafted some agreements, they drafted some deeds, and they were able to make sure that the ownership went from the deceased ancestor to the children at that time. Well, over the past few years, past several years, few generations have turned over, that story got lost. And so the family members who were trying to figure out what to do with the family property at this point, they got someone to open an estate for that deceased person's estate, that ancestor who died a while ago. They got someone to open it, get an administrator for their estate, open that estate, thinking that the estate had control over the property. Well, when my firm got involved, we did a title search, and we realized that the estate had been cleaned out decades ago. And so what we were doing basically was we were handling a shell estate. There was no property in the estate. And the ownership of the property was actually already in the hands of the family. They just didn't realize it until we did that title search. So a title search is important. We don't need to be drafting any more deeds without a title search. So if you come to my firm and you want me to just do a quick deed for you, or just do some kind of deed for you, I'm not gonna do it unless we do a title search. That's because there are too many problems that could come up with drafting deeds without doing a title search. So I'm really encouraging you all, please, when you need to transfer ownership of property, whether it is from a living person to another living person, or is from a deceased person's estate to a living person or living people, please involve a real estate lawyer in that process who's licensed in your state. They shouldn't be doing nothing if they're not licensed in your state, but make sure that they are. And if you are working with someone and they say, oh, we can draft a deed for you, we don't have to do a title search, I do encourage you to maybe consider talking with another lawyer, or if you feel like you can ask that lawyer, hey, could you please still do a title search? because I want to make sure that all the bases are covered. A lot of times lawyers, believe it or not, we actually want to try to save you money. I know for me, I try not to charge people for stuff that I don't have to. Of course, I have to get paid for my services. I do believe that I deserve to be paid for my services, but if I can get something done without having to do additional work to charge you for it, I try to get straight to the point. But in that effort to save clients money, in that effort to save time, we might end up messing them up in the future. And so I don't want you to be in that position. So I'm urging you, please, if you need to transfer ownership of property, get a lawyer involved, get a real estate lawyer involved. You will thank me later. I can probably promise you on that. In fact, I had some conversations today, not just one, but multiple conversations today where I was told I wish we had just hired you a while ago. Because there are things that come up that you're gonna have to pay more later than if you pay up front. So I'm just encouraging y'all. That's from my heart. That's from my heart. And it's from me also, like, not wanting to have to bill people for stuff that I shouldn't even have to bill them for, because it shouldn't have been done this way in the first place. But I will do it if y'all need me to. But I'd rather you just not end up in this situation. One more thing I will say before I'm finished with this video is make sure you have a will or trust in place. Get your estate planning in place. I know you don't want to go through that process right now, but it is so critically important. I'm telling you, your children, your grandchildren, your neighbors, whoever it is that is needing to handle your estate is going to thank you. So I'm asking you, please, if you own anything, if you are alive and you are watching this video, which everyone is, please make sure that you at least have a will in place. If not a will, look at a trust. Have some kind of estate planning in place so that things will be easier for those you love after you're gone. Because unless you, listen, if you don't find a way to stay here longer than, forever, if you find a way to stay here forever, tell me about that secret. But if you ain't found the secret, then I'm going to need you to know that you're going to be gone one day. And so if you want to make things easier for those you love, go ahead and get a will or a trust in place. And if you're in the state of Georgia, I'd be happy to help you with that. My name is Veronica McClendon. I'm an attorney in Macon, Georgia, the CEO and the lead attorney of McClendon Law and Consulting. Would love to help you if we can. Y'all take care.